Hello everyone and welcome to Box Office Receipts. I'm your host Tyler Callahan and we got the usual news this week. We got the numbers, new films in development, business deals being done, casting updates and more. Let's start with the domestic top 5. Starting off with the domestic top 5, Bob Marley One Love came in first place again with $13.5 million for a total of $71.1 million. In second place was Demon Slayer to the Hashira Training with $11.6 million. Third place was Ordinary Angels, which opened at $6.5 million. In fourth place was Madame Web with $6 million for a total of $35.4 million. And fifth place was Migration with $3 million for a total of $120.4 million. So Bob Marley held on well, dropping 53% compared to last weekend. Assuming it can still get an audience after Dune Part 2 comes out next weekend, it should be able to squeak by $100 million domestically. Demon Slayer did about as well as expected, and slightly better than the set of episodes that hit theaters last year. To the Swordsmith Village, it came out last year, it opened to $10.1 million. But look, considering this is not a brand new movie, I expect a drop off for this to be big. Madame Web also had a decent drop of 61%, but with the opening so low, it doesn't matter. At this point, it is a lock to make less than Morbius, and there is a good chance now it does not even pass 50 million domestic. Also, from Focus Features, we did get another new release this weekend that was delayed last year due to the strikes. That was Drive Away Dolls, and it bombed, coming in at 8th place with $2.4 million. Not good at all. And at the box office in China, Article 20 came in first place with $39.5 million for a total of $284.9 million. This film has kept climbing up the box office over the last few weeks as it debuted in 4th place 2 weeks ago. Nice to see. In second place was Pegasus 2 with $35 million for a total of $424 million. Third place was YOLO with another $24.8 million for a total of $454.5 million. Fourth place was Boonie Bear's Time Twist with $22.1 million for a total now of $252.4 million. And in fifth place was Argyle, which bombed with $1.4 million. Can't say I'm too surprised at that number. For international numbers, Bob Marley One Love earned $15 million for a worldwide total of $120.6 million. Poor Things earned $3.8 million and is right at the edge of passing $100 million, with it now at $99.6 million worldwide. Madame Web earned $10.5 million for a worldwide total of $77.4 million. Argyle made $3.5 million for a total now of $86.5 million worldwide. The Beekeeper is about to pass $150 million, with it now at $149.6 million worldwide. Wonka made another $5.2 million for a worldwide total of $617.3 million. And Anyone But You earned $6 million and has passed $200 million worldwide. This really became one of the big success stories of the box office recently, especially on a $25 million budget. Now let's go to new movies in development, first with an exclusive from Deadline. They are reporting that Mila Kunis has a deal with Skydance to star in and produce the 47 Night Stand. The romance movie will be written by Greg Malins. Over at Disney, they have released the first photo from Tron Ares, which is currently filming. There is not much to the photo, just someone in one of the outfits from Tron Legacy, just in red. It looks cool, don't get me wrong, but that's it for the photo. I'm looking forward to it. It is set to come out in 2025. At DC Studios, we've got an update on Superman Legacy. First off, filming has begun, and with that, it has gotten a title change, with James Gunn announcing it is now just called Superman. He has also posted a teaser pic of the suit with a close-up shot of the shield. There was also another casting update for the movie, with Wendell Pierce signing on to play the role of Perry White, the Daily Planet editor-in-chief, and Clark Kent's boss. Good casting. In the exclusive from Deadline, they are reporting that there is now a bidding war for the upcoming Bob the Builder animated movie. Coming from Mattel, the package includes it being produced by Jennifer Lopez and her production company, as well as Shadow Machine and Anthony Ramos, who will also voice the role of Bob. As for who is interested, DreamWorks Animation, Netflix, and Amazon MGM Studios are the big ones looking at it. If I had to take a bet, I'd say DreamWorks gets it. This could be a nice new franchise for them. At Universal, they have set a release date for the upcoming film from the Daniels. They have been quiet since winning Best Picture last year for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and we still don't know anything about their next film. Just now we know it is set to come out June 12th, 2026. So it will be a summer release. For casting updates, Deadline is exclusively reporting that Auli'i Carvalho is coming back to reprise her role as Moana in Moana 2. I didn't expect this not to happen unless Disney decided to try to massively underpay her. Like, she's the star character, like, you're gonna have to pay the actress for that. So, gotta make sense. Again, this is not shocking news that she's coming back. Well, and look, yeah, Disney knows they have to pay the cast to come back, considering Moana is still a top performing title on Disney Plus. There's clearly demand for a sequel. They're already turning this, what was supposed to be a Disney Plus show, into a sequel for theaters. Don't cheap out on it. And it looks like they're not. The In Snyder is exclusively reporting that at age 24, Emily Blunt is in talks to join the Smashing Machine. The film will star Dwayne Johnson portraying Mark Kerr, a UFC fighter, and is directed by Benny Safdie. If Blunt does join the film, she would play the role of Dawn Staples, Kerr's wife. Deadline is exclusively reporting that Priyanka Chopra Jones is set to star in The Bluff at Amazon MGM Studios. The film will be directed by Frank E. Flowers, who also co-wrote the script, and is set in the 19th century Caribbean, where Priyanka will play the role of a former pirate who has to protect her family. The film is also being produced by AGBO, so Anthony and Joe Russo will be producers on this as well. Carl Urban is also in talks to join. I take it if he signs on, he would be the antagonist as well. In release date updates, Sony has moved up Bad Boys 4. It was set to come out June 14th, but it will now open up 1 week earlier on June 7th. It will now open up against The Crow. That's actually a smart move. You get the opening weekend, and then you get a boost the following weekend for Father's Day weekend. Smart move from Sony there. Paramount has announced a few release dates for their upcoming movies. The Naked Gun reboot, starring Liam Neeson, is set to come out July 18th, 2025. Better Man will get a release on December 25th, but it looks to be a limited one, as it'll get an expanded release on January 17th, so I take it that they will be pushing it during award season. The film is a musical about the singer Robbie Williams. A thriller horror movie called Vicious will come out next August, and it stars Dakota Fanning. An action movie called Novocaine comes out next March and stars Jack Quaid and Amber Midthunder. As for 2026, the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated film comes out October 6th, and Paw Patrol 3 comes out July 31st, 2026. Now let's talk about Disney, as Deadline exclusively broke the news about a shakeup in the executive suite. Effective immediately, Sean Bailey is stepping down from his role of Walt Disney's president of Motion Picture Studios. While he is stepping down, he will not be leaving the company just yet, as he will be staying on as a producer for Tron Ares. Bailey has been in the position for 15 years and was the man who was responsible for all the live-action remakes since then. Bailey did release a statement about leaving the position. Quote, "These 15 years at Disney have been an incredible journey, but the time is right for a new chapter. I'm deeply grateful to my exceptional team and proud of the slate and history we've built together. I joined Disney while producing Tron Legacy, so it seems fitting that I'll have the opportunity to work on the latest Tron as I depart. I wish Bob Iger, Alan Bergman, and all my amazing colleagues the very best for a bright future." End quote. As for who's taken his place is David Greenbaum, who was the co-president of Searchlight Pictures. Along with this, he will also oversee 20th Century Studios as well. Greenbaum will report to Disney Entertainment co-chairman Alan Bergman. I think the change was a much needed change, and hope it was amicable for everyone. From Disney's point of view, based on the last few years, their live-action movies have not done as well as they should have been, and were lacking new ideas. Now, I'm not putting all of that on Bailey, because we're not sure if the higher-ups wanted to spend money on new original films or not. But look, you can make the case Bailey should have been given some time to turn things around. But I think after 15 years, a fresh set of eyes is needed to really implement change. As for Greenbaum, look, I've liked what Searchlight has been distributing and producing for years. If he's able to greenlight more original live-action films, I think they'll turn out good. And for Disney, I think this is what they want. The live-action remakes are drying up and they need something new. And hopefully, they let Green Bomb work. Sadly, we had a few deaths this week. First, Richard Lewis died at the age of 76 due to a heart attack. He was battling Parkinson's disease, which he announced he was diagnosed with last year. He was a stand-up comedian, most recently well known for starring in Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is currently airing its final season. The creator and star of the show, Larry David, released a statement about Lewis's passing. Quote, Richard and I were born 3 days apart in the same hospital, and for most of my life he's been like a brother to me. He had that rare combination of being the funniest person and also the sweetest. But today, he made me sob, and for that, I'll never forgive him. End quote. E. Duke Vincent died at the age of 91. He was a TV producer who worked on numerous shows, including Vegas, Melrose Place, and Beverly Hills 90210, among others. Janine Casarato has died at the age of 77. She was the co-founder of Casarato, Ramsey, and Associates Agency based in London. We normally don't talk about ESPN unless it has to do with streaming, but thought it was worth mentioning that sadly Chris Martinez has died at the age of 72. It was not said what the cause of death was, but he was diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer back in 2016. He was a top NFL reporter for the network, covering the sport for over 30 years. Mac Carna, or Mac Sinise, has died at the age of 33 due to a rare form of spinal cancer called chordoma. The musician is the son of Gary Sinise and has been battling cancer since being diagnosed back in 2018. Buddy Duras has died at the age of 38 due to cardiac arrest from a drug cocktail. He was an actor that appeared in a few films, including Good Time, Heaven Knows What, and Person to Person. Jim Reeve has died at the age of 64. He was a British film and TV financier and was the founder and chairman of Great Point Media. Paolo Tavini has died at the age of 92 after a short illness. He was an Italian director who made numerous films with his brother, including Padre Padrone, Caesars Must Die, and Good Morning, among others. And Mark Dodson has died at the age of 64 due to a heart attack. He was a voiceover artist who worked in films and video games. Some of his bigger roles include being the voice of Salacious Crumb in Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and Mowgli in Gremlins. Thoughts and prayers go out to their families during this terrible time. And again, as always, fuck cancer. Let's move on and talk about something a bit boring. Tax credits. The California Film Commission has approved one of the biggest tax credits given to a studio to produce the film in the state. As for which film is getting it, well, it is the upcoming Star Wars film, The Mandalorian and Grogu, with the tax credit being for $21.7 million. Now, the whole point of these tax credits is to generate jobs and stimulate the economy, and it seems it might help a bit. With this info coming out, we also have an idea on how the production will go, with the shoot for the film looking to hire 54 cast members, 500 crew members, 3,500 background members, and film for 92 days. Also noticeable on the chart released is The Accountant 2 for Amazon MGM Studios. Got a $10 million tax credit, so I assume a good amount of filming will take place in the state. We know a sequel to that movie has been in development, but heard nothing concrete. And now I guess we know which studio will be producing it. We got a small update on the Coyote vs. Acme movie, and it looks like it will not be released at all. Will Forte, who stars in the movie, posted on Instagram, quote, I know that a lot of you haven't gotten a chance to see our movie, and sadly, it's looking like you never will, end quote. He goes on to say he did finally get a chance to see the film and that it was incredible. Now, I'm not saying I don't believe him, but let's take that statement with a grain of salt because he stars in it. Actors don't go around saying, yeah, I saw the final cut of my movie, and it's terrible, it's bad. As for Coyote vs. Acme, I do hope it comes out at some point, but I'm not surprised this is happening since there's been no movement on Warner Brothers selling it over the last few months. We got 2 trailers this week, both from Warner Brothers. They released the first trailer for The Watchers. This is a supernatural thriller directed and written by Ishana Night Shyamalan, and yes, she is the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan, produced by New Line and starring Dakota Fanning. The film comes out June 7th. The second trailer is for Horizon and American Saga. These are the Western films that Kevin Costner is directing and starring in, with Part 1 coming out June 28th, and Part 2 coming out August 16th. I'm really curious how this is going to perform at the box office, with both parts coming out so close to each other. We start off VOD Premium with Hulu, where it was announced that Poor Things will be available to watch starting March 7th, so people will have a chance to stream it at home before the Oscars. Great film. The cast of the 4th season of Only Murders in the Building continues to grow, with Eugene Levy joining. Tubi has gotten a rebrand with a new logo and color scheme as Fox plans to roll out the streaming service internationally this year. The new logo is meant to look playful, and the color scheme is yellow for the logo and purple for the background and UI. The logo and UI refresh will start to roll out over the next few weeks, and as for the international expansion, the plan is to launch in the UK first this summer and then to other markets in Europe. It was a quiet week for Max as they released the first trailer for the upcoming 3rd season of Hacks. The new season is set to premiere on May 2nd with the first 2 episodes. For HBO, we have more casting updates for the 2nd season of The Last of Us, with Dani Ramirez, Ariella Barrer, Tati Gabrielle, and Spencer Lord joining the cast. Long story short, they are playing the characters from Abby's group, with Abby being played by Caitlin Dever. Now let's talk about Paramount as they released their quarterly earnings. This is for the 4th quarter, so it won't include anything regarding the Super Bowl. Paramount ended 2023 with 67.5 million Paramount Plus subscribers. That was a gain of 4.1 million for the quarter. Along with that, Paramount Plus revenue went up 69%. As for their overall direct-to-consumer business, which includes Paramount Plus, the losses were $490 million, which is an improvement year over year. This time last year, it was $575 million for the quarter. The company is expecting Paramount Plus in the United States to be profitable by 2025. It was also confirmed in the quarterly earnings call what the state have been doing over the last few months and will continue to do so. That is to cut down on the international content made, focus more on content that will have global appeal, and overall spend less on making content and maximize their value. For the cut down in international content, the company says it's because their international audience watches Hollywood content more. Here is what CFO Naveen Chopra had to say about this. Quote, "We've learned the Paramount Plus subscribers outside the United States spend nearly 90% of their time with our global Hollywood hits, meaning we can keep them engaged while right-sizing our investment in content that does not travel around the world." End quote. And as we're focusing more on maximizing the content they already have, this week it was announced that Paramount Plus show Tulsa King will air on CBS over the summer. It was also announced this week that a new NCIS spinoff for Paramount Plus was announced with a focus on 2 returning characters, Tony Donoso and Ziva David. Both Michael Weatherly and Cote de Pablo will be back to reprise their roles. As for the new series, it'll be set in Europe with Tony McNamara showrunning. This is a spin-off that makes sense as it is the comeback 2 very popular characters from the series, and NCIS has performed consistently well on streaming. It is set to go in production later this year. Paramount Plus and Showtime are making a loose remake of Ray Donovan called The Donovans. The show will be set in London, with Guy Ritchie set to direct and executive produce, and with Ronan Bennett set to write. I say set to direct and write, but this must be close to finishing because it was also reported it'll launch on Paramount Plus later in the year. If I had to guess, it'll be a fall release. As for a reimagining of Ray Donovan, I don't think any of us are surprised. We knew last year the plan for Showtime moving forward was a focus on building out their current and legacy franchises, and less on original shows. That's why we're getting a Dexter prequel, we're getting billions spin-offs, right? So I guess for Ray Donovan, since he can't really move forward with the original, you make a remake in a different city. In an exclusive from Variety, they are reporting that Michael Fassbender is in talks to star in the upcoming thriller series The Departed at Showtime. This is based on the French show called The Bureau that came out back in 2015. As for The Department, it is created by Eric Rochant, who will also direct and produce, with George Clooney executive producing. I'm a fan of Fassbender, so if he's going to star in it, I'm going to give it a watch. Apple TV Plus is adding 51 films to its library for its US customers. It has licensed these films from other studios, and it is a wide variety, including Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, The Wolf of Wall Street, Mad Max Fury Road, Titanic, Gravity, and more. Now this is only a limited time, with some only staying until the end of March, with the rest staying until the end of April. BBC Studios is buying out ITV's share of ownership of BritBox International. for £255 million, and it will now become a fully owned subsidiary. As for why this is happening, well, it's part of ITV's plans to fully focus on their own streaming service in the UK, ITVX. The company is planning to shut down BritBox UK at the end of April and transition everything over to ITVX. BritBox UK is fully owned by ITV after they bought out the BBC's share of it back in 2022. So basically, to break it down, BritBox as a streaming service, there's two parts, the UK version and the international for everything else. BBC now owns the international one. They'll be growing that. ITV owns the UK one. They're shutting that down. As part of the deal for BritBox International, there shouldn't be much or any loss of content, as ITV will continue to license content to the service in return for an ongoing cut of revenue. We got the Nielsen Top 10 for the week of January 29th to February 4th, and it looks like Mr. and Miss Smith might be a hit. It debuted in the overall top 10 in 4th place with 964 million minutes watched. However, that is only with 3 days of being able to watch it. So that is a great start for the show, and Prime Video must be happy about that. I would also expect it to stay in the top 10 over the next few weeks. Griselda came in 1st place overall with 1.72 billion minutes watched. Young Sheldon came in 2nd with 1.3 billion minutes watched, and Bluey came in 3rd with 1.14 billion minutes watched. We were talking about NCIS earlier. Well, it came in the overall top 10 in 8th place with 689 million minutes watched. For the streaming originals chart, Percy Jackson and the Olympians is staying up there, coming in 3rd place with 575 million minutes, and Fool Me Once came in 4th place with 471 million minutes watched. We also have the top 10 charts for Netflix for the week of February 19th to the 25th, and for English TV shows, Avatar: The Last Airbender debuted in 1st place with 21.2 million views. That's a good start, but it needs to hold on for the next few weeks if it's going to get renewed. In 2nd place was One Day with 7.5 million views, and in 3rd place was the 6th season of Love is Blind with 7.5 million views as well. I mean, yes, technically the numbers are tied, but on the chart, that's how Netflix placed them. As for English films, Mea Culpa came in 1st place with 16 million views. Players came in 2nd with 7.4 million views, and 3rd place was Einstein and the Bomb with 7.2 million views. And speaking of Netflix, they have canceled The Brother's Son after 1 season. The action drama led by Michelle Yeoh came out in early January. Personally, I was hoping to get a 2nd season. I, for the most part, enjoyed it, but I guess the viewership numbers weren't there. It was in the top 10 for a bit, but it wasn't a big hit. At the very least, the creators of the show did end season 1 with the idea that if there was no season 2, it still kind of works. So I would definitely say give it a watch. Netflix have found their new chief of films, with Dan Lin taking the role. He has been a producer in Hollywood for years, having founded his own company, Rideback, back in 2008. That production company has helped produce numerous films and shows, including Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes movies, the Lego animated movies, the live-action remake of Aladdin, and for Netflix, The Two Popes. In a statement, Netflix's chief content officer, Bella Bajaria, had this to say about Lin. Quote, Dan's experience as both an executive and a producer is marked by a consistent ability to draw in exceptional filmmakers. But what really got my attention was his creation of Rideback, a dynamic community for filmmakers fostering collaborative and creative environments. His visionary approach has led to the establishment of incubators and residencies, propelling the careers of extraordinary talent, as well as a steady slate of blockbuster films. I can't wait for Dan to infuse Netflix with his innovation and talent. I'm excited to work with him to bring a diverse range of exceptional films to our global audience. End quote. I think Dan Lin is a solid choice for the position. It's smart that Netflix is picking someone that has many years of experience in Hollywood instead of going with someone that is outside of the industry. As for Disney, this has been in the talks now for a few weeks, but they have reached a deal with Reliance to merge their Indian streaming and TV businesses. The merger will include Disney's Star India and from Reliance Viacom18 to form a new joint venture. As for ownership, Viacom18 will own 46.8% of the joint venture, Disney with 36.8%, and with Reliance themselves owning 16.3%. Also, since Paramount owns 13% of Viacom18, they are now a small but part owners of this as well. So while the percentages of ownership is different, this basically has been what the news is now for a while, that Disney is taking a step back in the market and will let Reliance and Viacom18 take the lead in growing market share in streaming in India while they produce the content. In a statement from the companies, they did confirm the joint venture will have exclusive access to Disney content. Quote, the JV will also be granted exclusive rights to distribute Disney films and productions in India with the license to more than 30,000 Disney content assets, providing a full suite of entertainment options for the Indian consumer. End quote. And this is what Disney CEO Bob Iger had to say about the announcement. Quote, India is the world's most populous market, and we are excited for the opportunities that this joint venture will provide to create long-term value for the company. Reliance has a deep understanding of the Indian market and consumer, and together we will create one of the country's leading media companies, allowing us to better serve consumers with a broad portfolio of digital services and entertainment and sports content. End quote. Now, this does have to be approved by regulators, but assuming there are no issues, the companies expect this to close in the first quarter of 2025. And that is it for this episode of Box Office Receipts. If you want to follow me on Threads, Instagram, or X, links to those are in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.